A tough one for the Padres on this Wednesday afternoon as they fall to the Miami Marlins by a final score of 10-8 here at Petco Park. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building in downtown San Diego as we welcome you into the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show. Hey, player, when it comes to giving you what you want, Jamul Casino Resort isn't playing around. It's way more than a place to game. It's a place where you can stay and play in every possible way. Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place. This was a tough one for the Padres here today. We'll get into all of it. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll have a full game recap, go through the radio highlights. But to sum it up quickly, Padres had a 6-1 lead in this game after a 5-run bottom half of the fourth inning. And then immediately they give it up in the top of the fifth inning. Kyle Hart and David Morgan allowing 5 runs in the top of the fifth as the Marlins tie the game at 6. Miami then takes a lead 7-6 in the top of the seventh inning. Gavin Shildt delivers a huge 2-run home run to go ahead, put the Padres ahead 8-7 in the bottom half of the seventh inning. And then the Marlins against Jason Adam and Wandy Peralta score 3 in the top of the eighth inning as Miami goes on to win it 10-8. So the Padres had a 5-run lead. They had a 1-run lead late in the game heading to the eighth inning, and the Marlins answered every time the Padres had a punch in this game. That included an early 1-0 lead in the bottom half of the second. Marlins, in fact, you look at it, they scored in the next half inning every time the Padres scored in this game. Padres got 1 in the second. Marlins got 1 in the third. Padres got 5 in the fourth inning. Marlins got 5 in the top of the fifth. Padres got 2 in the bottom of the seventh inning to take an 8-7 lead. Marlins then scored 3 in the eighth inning to take a 10-8 lead. So this was a tough one for this reason. You're looking to sweep a team in Miami that came in at 21-32. You have a 6-1 lead. I know Kyle Hart is on the mound, up from AAA, making a start. Not, the best of the starting pitching that the Padres have. But you felt like after they had that 5-run fourth inning, like they were going to be able to kind of cruise in this game to a series sweep and a win against the Marlins team that, again, came in with a record of 21-32, 11 games below 500. And credit to the Marlins. Every time the Padres scored, they had a punch back. Obviously, for the Padres pitching staff, Kyle Hart giving up a bunch of base runners in that top of the fifth inning as the Marlins tied it. David Morgan gave up a big 3-run home run to Otto Lopez to tie the game at 6. And then you talk about what happened in that top of the eighth inning. Jason Adam allowing base runners, Wandy Peralta allowing a couple of big hits in that inning. And there were a few different points in this game where the Padres were working with the lead and their pitching staff could not get it done today. In a bullpen, we mentioned it in the pregame, they had been so terrific the last 3 games in this 3-game winning streak, and here today just was not the same. And also some interesting stuff with the bullpen today, and I'm curious to see if Mike Shildt gets asked about it after the game. For example, Wandy Peralta coming in instead of a guy like an Adrian Morejon in that eighth inning, albeit Morejon did pitch on Monday and he pitched on Sunday and Monday, didn't pitch yesterday, so it would have been 3 out of 4 days for Morejon. Look, I could understand if they were trying to stay away from him today, but Padres did enter this game. Suarez didn't pitch yesterday. Adam didn't pitch yesterday. Morejon didn't pitch yesterday. Sean Reynolds had only pitched yesterday after not pitching for 2 days, did throw 57 pitches a handful of days ago in that spot start in Atlanta. So the bullpen was in an interesting spot. I'm just curious to kind of see what the availability was and kind of what went on with the bullpen as this game got later and later. But look, regardless of who was in and who was not, the Padres had leads in this game and just could not find a way to secure them and lock this game down. Hey, Gavin Shildt has a huge home run. It's a huge moment for Gavin Shildt. And again, Marlins tied the game, took a lead immediately. That was the story of the game. Every time the Padres did something offensively, their pitching gave it right back up in this one. So a tough one, no doubt, because you felt like when it was 6-1, you just had a great opportunity to sweep this series and build some momentum, win 4 in a row, win 5 of 6, and instead, Marlins, to their credit, to salvage the finale of this 3-game set. Now the Padres have an off day tomorrow, and they'll welcome in the Pittsburgh Pirates on Friday at Petco Park. When we come back, we'll recap this one from start to finish. We've got a lot to do. We'll also hear from Mike Shildt coming up a little bit later as well. And then towards the 5 p.m. hour, probably towards the bottom of the hour, we'll be joined by Crisello, Matt Scraby. They will come your way towards the bottom of the hour with today's edition of Gwynn and Chris. But first things first, a lot to do as our post-game coverage continues. Again, the final score, Marlins 10 and the Padres 8. You're listening to the Padres Radio Network.
You ever try fixing your car and
Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score, Marlins 10 and the Padres 8 as the Marlins storm back with 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning to take a 10-8 lead. They go on to win by that final score. Padres drop to 31-23. Marlins improve to 22-32. Padres have an off day tomorrow. They welcome in the Pittsburgh Pirates for a 3-game series beginning on Friday here in downtown San Diego. We'll go downstairs, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. This was a bit of a wild back-and-forth game on this Wednesday afternoon. A really nice crowd, cloudy skies, little bit chilly, but it was an entertaining ball game. Back and forth we went. Let's recap it from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's begin in the bottom of the second. Sandy Alcantara on the mound today for Miami in a scoreless game. Jackson Merrill hit a leadoff double. He went to third base as Marlins right fielder Jesus Sanchez couldn't handle it cleanly in the right field corner. That set things up for Gavin Sheets.
0-2 pitch. Hot shot past the third baseman into the left field corner. Jackson Merrill will score. Padres have a 1-0 lead on the RBI single by Gavin Sheets.
That's all the Padres got in the second. Kyle Hart got the first 2 outs in the top of the third, but then Agustin Ramirez dug in.
First pitch sees, swung on. Pretty well hit to left field. Gavin Sheets is going to look up. This one is going to be gone into the bleachers in left field.
We were still tied at 1 going to the bottom half of the fourth inning after that solo home run by Ramirez. There were runners on first and second in the fourth with one man away for Jake Cronenworth.
Swung on, driven to right field. Pretty well hit going back as Sanchez. It's not going to be able to catch it. It's going to go to the wall. Gavin Sheets is going to score. Xander Bogaerts is going to score. It's a 2-run double for Jake Cronenworth, and the Padres have a 3-1 lead here in the fourth.
Really nice piece of hitting for Cronenworth. A 2-run double made it a 3-1 game. Tyler Wade walked to put 2 on again. Elias Diaz was next.
Elias Diaz, first pitch swinging, line drive, base hit in the left field. Jake Cronenworth is heading home. Here comes the throw. He's safe. Padres lead at 4-1 on the RBI single by Elias Diaz.
Fernando Tatis Jr. walked to load the bases. Luis Arraez then hit a sac fly. That scored Tyler Wade from third. Diaz went to third base. The Padres had a 5-1 lead. Tatis then stole second to put 2 in scoring position for Manny Machado.
1-2 to Manny. Line drive, base hit into right field. Diaz will score. They're going to hold up Fernando. He's going to run through the sign. Here comes the throw. He is out at the plate. Tim Leeper was trying to hold him up. Fernando said, nope, I'm going to go for it. And Jesus Sanchez guns him down for the final out. But the Padres do get another run. A 5-run inning for the Padres. They now lead the Marlins 6-1 as we head to the fifth inning.
5-run inning, a 6-1 lead, and Scan was right on it. Tim Leeper threw up a stop sign at third base, and Fernando just ran right through it. Was thrown out at home plate, so not a great moment for Fernando. If you're going to run through a stop sign, you kind of got to make it, and Fernando was thrown out at home plate. But with that said, Padres had a 6-1 lead after 4 innings here at Petco Park. Kyle Hart had a big lead to work with as he took the mound for the top of the fifth inning, but the trouble began. The second batter of the inning was Jesus Sanchez.
First pitch swinging, high fly ball right field, pretty well hit. Tyler Wade drifting back. He's at the warning track. He's at the wall, and it's going to be gone. Home run for Jesus Sanchez. His second of the series, his fourth of the season. It's now a 6-2 Padres lead.
All right, so a solo home run, no big deal. Javier Sanoja doubled with 2 outs. Agustin Ramirez hit an RBI single to score Sanoja. That made it 6-3. Then a single put 2 on base again. The Padres then went to right-hander David Morgan to make his second major league appearance. He faced Otto Lopez, who represented the tying run.
The one pitch swung on, driven to left field and deep. Gavin Sheets is going back. He's at the warning track at the wall. He's going to look up. This one is gone. A 3-run home run for Otto Lopez, and all of a sudden, we've got a tie ball game, 6-6.
Just like that, the Marlins responded with a 5-run top of the fifth inning against Hart and Morgan. We were all knotted at 6. We were still tied at 6, going top 7. Yuki Matsui on the mound after getting the final out of the 6th inning. Sanoja doubled to start the inning. A sac bunt got him to third base. Jason Adam came in to face Agustin Ramirez, and this happened.
Padres have the infield in. First pitch gets by Diaz all the way to the backstop. And all of a sudden, the Marlins have a 7-6 lead on the wild pitch. So Noah's able to score.
Adam got out of the inning with the score, still 7-6. Padres trailing by 1. In the bottom half of the 7th, righty Ronnie Enriquez took the mound for Miami. Luis Arraez drew a leadoff walk. Enriquez bounced back to get the next 2 outs. The inning was left up to Gavin Sheets.
Pitch is down. 2-1 swung on. Driven to right field and deep. This one is going to be gone. 2-run home run for Gavin Sheets. Puts the Padres on top, 8-7.
A big moment for Gavin Sheets. His 11th home run of the season. The Padres took an 8-7 lead. After finishing the top of the 7th, Jason Adams stayed on for the 8th inning. Now working with a 1-run lead, he hit Connor Norby in the helmet with a pitch to start the inning. A scary moment, but Norby stayed in the game. Then an error by Manny Machado at third base, a play where he likely would have got at least 1 out on a ground ball, but instead the Marlins had runners on first and second with nobody out. Wandy Peralta came in. He got a fielder's choice, but then a walk to load the bases. So the Marlins had the tying run on third, the go-ahead run on second. They were all loaded up for Agustin Ramirez.
8-7 Padres lead. The first pitch to Ramirez. Swung on, line drive, base hit in center field. 1 run is going to score. Here comes the throw. The second run is going to score. And all of a sudden the Marlins have taken the lead 9-8.
Marlins weren't done. Eric Wagaman was next.
2-0. Swung on line drive over the head of Manny Machado into the corner. Mesa Jr. is going to score. Gavin Sheets trying to get a handle on it. They're going to send another runner. He's heading home. Here comes the throw from Xander. He is out at the plate. But the Marlins do get another run. As the inning comes to an end, they now have a 10-8 lead over the Padres.
A 10-8 lead for Miami, a 3-run top of the 8th inning. The runs charged against Jason Adam and Wandy Peralta. 2 unearned runs in that inning as well. Manny making that critical error at third base. Padres didn't score in the bottom half of the 8th inning. They didn't score against right-hander Calvin Fauché in the bottom half of the 9th inning. 3rd save of the year for Fauché. And that was that here tonight. Padres lose 10-8 as the Marlins again score 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning to take a 10-8 lead, and they go on to win by that final score. Final totals for Miami: 10 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. For the Padres, 8 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. Miami improves to 22-32. San Diego drops to 31-23. Ronnie Enriquez, the winning pitcher, he's 3-1. Losing pitcher Jason Adam, he drops to 5-1, and the save goes to Calvin Fauché, his 3rd of the season, in front of nearly 34,000 in the building here today at Petco Park. But no doubt a tough one for the Padres, a 6-1 lead against a team like Miami looking for a 3-game sweep, and ultimately the Padres could not find a way to win it, as they do win 2 out of 3, but they see their 3-game winning streak come to an end on afternoon. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We should also have some additional post-game reaction coming your way from inside the Padres clubhouse as the Padres fall 10-8 in this series finale at Petco Park. Our post-game coverage continues after these words on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening
Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres fall by a final score of 10-8 on this Wednesday afternoon. We have today's edition of Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby coming your way towards the bottom of the hour. You still have me for a little while as we continue to wrap this one up here on the Padres Radio Network. Really tough one for the Padres here today. And again, they win 2 out of 3 against Miami. It's not the end of the world to lose a game and you still win a series and you got the Pirates coming to town. However, Padres had a 6-1 lead today, and I think a lot of us probably would have said when they took that 6-1 lead with a really nice and productive and kind of classic Padre offense, bottom half of the 4th inning, a 5-run inning to take a 6-1 lead. Kind of felt like this one was, going to be one where the Padres could sort of cruise, but again, Miami deserves a lot of credit. They battled back a 5-run 5th to tie it immediately. Then they take the lead in the 7th inning. They get punched again with the Sheets home run in the bottom of the 7th inning as the Padres take an 8-7 lead. And then the Marlins score 3 runs with the rally starting against one of the better right-handed relievers in baseball than Jason Adam in the top of the 8th inning. They go on to put up a 3 spot in the top of the 8th, and the Padres go on to lose this game by a final score of 10-8. And how about Agustin Ramirez in this game for Miami? 4 for 5, including a home run and 4 RBIs, and he had that go-ahead 2-run hit in the top of the 8th inning as well. How about the top 3 hitters for the Marlins today? Agustin Ramirez, 4 hits. Eric Wagman, 3 hits and an RBI. And Otto Lopez had that huge 3-run home run to tie the game at 6 in the 5th inning. So credit where credit's due. Top of the lineup for Miami did a really good job. The very back end of their bullpen did a really nice job. Ronnie Enriquez coming out bottom of the 8th inning, pitching a scoreless inning after the Marlins took the 10-8 lead. Calvin Fauché, after giving up a game-tying home run late on Monday to Manny Machado, then puts together a scoreless bottom half of the 9th inning to pick up the saves. So all in all, there were a lot of impressive things for a young team in the Miami Marlins as they win this game at 10-8. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Your bullpen's been so good in some of your comebacks. Was tonight just maybe one of those nights for a couple of those guys?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of attrition, right? You're talking about 9 games, last 7, a bullpen game, extra innings. Those guys, man, so much respect for the bullpen. Those guys they're getting after it, man. They're getting as extended as we're comfortable with. And listen, it's they laid it out there and they put some swings on the ball and we hurt ourselves in the 8th and that was kind of the story.
There's that lane for Wandy at the bottom of the line, kind of why he stayed out there for the top 2 in that lineup there. Yeah,
there's we didn't want to go Suarez more than 1 out of 5 out of 7. We justified it before the game with Adam out of 5 out of 7. Had to use Morgan kind of early. Had some everybody else was down except for Reynolds, who threw 57. 2 days off, up and down yesterday. So, yeah, that's what I mean by the attrition part.
Another big swing for Gavin. What do you make of kind of how he's showed up in those moments?
He's just a good hitter, man. Righties, lefties, regardless of moment, he's taking good at bats, not making moments big. He's trying to put a really pretty swing on a baseball, and he's doing a great job for us.
What'd you think of Hart today?
Listen, he was getting his outs efficiently. I mean, the pitch count wasn't going to be an issue. Just, got the big lead. Big inning. And, the thing is outside a little bit of the 8th that we alluded to, we didn't, up until that point, we didn't beat ourselves. He threw strikes and, he got some hits and, those righties at the top, and then, we had to go to the bullpen a little earlier than we'd have cared for, but we had to get there. So I thought he was efficient with the pitches he threw and got some outs, and they just strung together some at-bats in the fifth that, ultimately chased him.
Is there an update on Michael King?
Nothing. Yes. I mean, in a sense of like a lot of the testing is very favorable from what we're ruling out. And they're starting to get a little more clarity, which we'll probably have for you on Friday of what that looks like. But, some of the things that we wanted to make sure were in place and strong and firing appropriately, tested out very excellent. And now it's just a matter of discerning exactly what it is and what the plan is.
Through
does not mean he threw. It means he was tested. Yeah. Another thing I think is worth mentioning, man, Alexander Bogaerts. I've been intentional about, and maybe not enough with him, but put together a nice series. And by the way, we just won a series. It's a nice job. And but Bogey, man, good everywhere. Defensively, at bats great, stealing bags, 11 bags. Playing really good defense and taking good swings. So I think it needs to be recognized. And we'll enjoy our day off, and we'll get ready to get back after it on Friday.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this 10-8 win for the Marlins here in San Diego today. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. So it sounds like we'll have an update on Michael King maybe on Friday, but so far it sounds like good news for King as far as what the testing has been. As Mike Shildt said, so far the testing is favorable, so hopefully we'll have an update later in the week on Michael King, and hopefully Michael doesn't have to miss too much time. He's so important to this Padres rotation. You heard the early part of the post-game presser there. Mike get asked about some music started playing in here all of a sudden. Mike got asked about the bullpen usage, and look, you basically got the answer there as to why they went to Wandy Peralta and how the bullpen was set up today. Because you look at it, they didn't want to go more than one inning with Robert Suarez. Robert had pitched on Sunday and Monday. They didn't want to go to Estrada, I would assume, after he threw 27 pitches on Sunday, then 24 pitches and an up-down yesterday. Sounded like Morahone was unavailable in this game. He threw on Sunday and Monday, but they were looking to avoid really overusing him. I think Mike Shildt mentioned there 5 out of 7 days for some of these guys if they pitch today. Sean Reynolds, 12 pitches yesterday through the 57 on Saturday. So you essentially got the answers there as to why they had to go the way they did with the bullpen today, because they have really worked this bullpen hard for a number of different reasons and out of necessity. And you heard the word attrition there. And that's why, a guy like Wandy Peralta is in that spot. If Adrian Morejone's available, I'm probably assuming Adrian's in that spot, but it sounds like Adrian was unavailable. And look, that does happen with a bullpen, and the Padres were trying to get through this game with not everybody available. And yeah, they had to go to David Morgan, making his second major league appearance earlier than they probably would have liked in a big-time spot. So that's going to happen. And unfortunately, with the way it kind of lined up today, Padres bullpen couldn't find a way to get it done and hold a couple of leads. But you really look at it, if you want to really boil down where this game started to turn, and I think you could argue where the game was lost. Padres take a 6-1 lead with that 5-run bottom half of the fourth inning. Kyle Hart comes back out. His pitch count at that point very manageable. And then Sanchez homers, Sanoja doubles. Later in the inning, Ramirez singles to bring in another run. Wagaman singles, and then Hart comes out of the game. Morgan comes in, and boom, Morgan gives up the 3-run home run to Otto Lopez. Kyle Hart, that's a spot right there where it's not ideal to take a 5-run lead, and then there's a bunch of base hits, and all of a sudden the Marlins are getting momentum, and all of a sudden Hart can't get through the 5th inning. So unfortunately, Padres were in a tough position with their pitching staff today. They did have guys unavailable. They didn't want to overwork guys. They didn't want to go multiple innings with certain guys. And you understand that. It's a long season. You cannot just, throw caution to the wind every day with your bullpen and say, this game right now is everything and we will do anything to win it. you kind of wish you could do that every game, but it's just not realistic. So we got good answers there for Mike. They were in a spot today where, they were trying to get through it with Adam. Adam allows a couple of base runners in the 8th inning. They got to go to Wandy. And unfortunately, the Marlins ended up taking advantage, taking a lead, and they don't relinquish that lead here today. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have additional post-game reaction from inside the Padres clubhouse, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, much, much more to do as the Marlins win it 10-8 against the Padres on this Wednesday as Miami salvages the series finale here at Petco Park. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Hey, guys, it's Woodsy. Celebrate 100.
Our post-game coverage continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Padres fall 10-8 to the Miami Marlins. In this series finale, Padres had a real nice opportunity to sweep this series, a 6-1 lead. At one point in this game, they led 8-7. A little bit later, after a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th by Gavin Sheets, but the Padres unable to hold a number of leads today as they fall in this series finale. We talked about some good in this outing for Kyle Hart, some bad in this outing for Kyle Hart with the way the Padres took a 6-1 lead heading to the top of the 5th inning, a 5-run bottom of the 4th inning, and then Hart gave up a number of hits and base runners and ultimately left the game. David Morgan comes in with a tying run at the plate. Otto Lopez hits a 3-run home run to tie the game at 6. And just like that, it was a 5 spot for Miami in the top of the 5th inning to tie the game. Hart's final line, 4 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs given up on 6 hits. He allowed 2 home runs, 57 pitches, 39 strikes today for Kyle Hart in his return to the major leagues after spending the last month or so down at AAA. Let's go downstairs inside the Padres clubhouse and hear some post-game reaction from today's starting pitcher, Kyle Hart.
Pitch count certainly wasn't an issue. What did you make of that outing?
Tough way to finish what was good series. You win a series, that's a good series. But just I'll take that one. I mean, that one's on me. You can't protect a 5-run lead. All I had to do in the fifth there was just limit the damage. Wasn't able to do it. Needed to throw some better pitches. I don't think the pitches were bad, but they weren't good enough. So just frustrating. Sweeper wasn't there. Need to kind of solve that the next few days. But, got a good team coming in this weekend. Need to win another series.
I feel like the solo homers were and then all of a sudden, boom, they were like dinking and that sort of thing. Did that feel just like the fifth kind of leaked away?
Yeah, Sanchez, hits that solo shot. A little frustrating there. I feel like I'm pretty solid against lefties typically. But then, they get a double, make the second out, and then it was just all with 2 outs. You got to tip your hat a little bit. They put the ball in play with 2 outs and built an inning. But, again, it just can't happen in that situation.
Anything change in that spot, or is it just a few missed pitches after when you got to that spot?
Yeah, no, I haven't watched that fifth inning yet. It felt like there were some pitches that I made that normally could have resulted in outs. I need to kind of go back and check those out. But I felt like I know the Wagaman one, that felt like a pretty good pitch. And then the leadoff, Ramirez, he was just leaning on me all day. Yeah. The changeup, I think he hit up the middle. I just needed to walk that a little further off. But I thought the pitch selections were pretty good all day. Just could have maybe expanded here and there with some of it.
Would you think it's fair, like the starts of yours that haven't been good, let's say, have been almost good?
Yeah. Well,
how do you change that?
Yeah, that's something you kind of have to dig down internally, but almost is not good in this league. So, just keep working. We're in a good spot as a team. I feel like you said, I'm close. Just need to kind of cap off some of those innings where the other team gets some momentum.
That was today's starting pitcher, Kyle Hart, after this tough loss for the Padres against the Miami Marlins. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we continue to wrap this one up. Look, give credit to Kyle Hart, took responsibility there, essentially saying he's got to be better after the Padres took that 6-1 lead. And Kyle's always, to me, very accountable. Really, very well spoken about his game and what he needs to do and what he needs to work on. So we'll see if Kyle Hart does get another start while Michael King is on the IL. We'll see what the deal is with the rotation next turn around. But Kyle Hart certainly accountable there, which you always appreciate in the post-game press conferences. We'll hear from Jason Adam in just a moment. First, let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, it's tough to give relief pitcher of the game to anybody on the Padres side of things today, because the Padres lost the game. But as you know, that doesn't mean we won't give relief pitcher of the game to a Padre reliever. But today, all 4 Padre relievers, Morgan, Matsui, Adam, and Peralta, they were all charged with runs in this game. So hard to go on that side of things. So we'll go on the other side today. How about Calvin Fauché? Really nice job by Fauché for a couple of reasons. Picks up his 3rd save in what was a 10-8 game in the bottom half of the 9th inning. He gets relief pitcher of the game because he retired Tatis, Arraez, and Machado in a spot where a bloop and a blast could tie the game, and it's only a 2-run game. He's got to face the very top of the Padres lineup and retired them 1-2-3. And the second part of it, remember, Fauché gave up the game-tying home run on Monday to Manny in that Padres win on Monday in the series opener. So he's trying to bounce back. He already gave up a home run to Manny, and he came out, did a really nice job. A 1-2-3 9th inning for. So for that reason, we'll hand our relief pitcher of the game to the Marlins right-hander Calvin Fauché, who again picks up his 3rd save of the season. Back to the Padres bullpen now. Padres had that 8-7 lead going to the top of the 8th inning. And then Jason Adam, who, as we know, has been so very good since getting traded to San Diego last summer. He had a rougher outing here today, finished the 7th inning, and then came back out for the top of the 8th inning, hit Connor Norby with a pitch in the helmet. Scary moment, but Norby looked okay, stayed in. Then the error by Manny at third base. That was a critical play in this game. Little ground ball. Manny grabbed it cleanly on the short hop, but then as he tried to transfer, he lost it. And on a play where he certainly should have got at least one out, Padres got nothing. That ended up being a really, really big moment because then Wandy comes in and the scoring starts for the Marlins. And ultimately, the Marlins score 3 runs, 2 of those runs unearned against Jason Adams. So, again, you look at it, the error by Manny, not Jason Adams' fault. He did hit Connor Norby right after the Padres take a lead. So that, wasn't a great way to start that inning. Again, Padres had a big issue today finding shutdown innings after they scored in their halves of innings today. That was a big problem. And, the wildness by Jason Adams hitting Norby in the 8th inning to start it, that sort of started the trouble for the Padres in that 8th. Let's go downstairs. Here's some post-game reaction from Jason Adams.
Came in right away. It kind of something bad happened, but then how difficult is it to refocus after?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's like any time you make a bad pitch, you just got to focus on the next one. I actually wasn't displeased with the following hitter. Just got the ground ball. It was just a little too soft to try to turn double play. But, I mean, thankfully, it seems like he's okay. Obviously, never want to hit anybody. Definitely never want to hit anybody in the head. So I'm just thankful he was all right, and bummed that I couldn't get it done for the boys tonight.
That's something that we haven't seen, where you come in and give up that. We've talked a lot about the workload. Are there any?
No, it's not workload related. There's honestly days over the course of a season where baseball feels really easy, and then there's days where it feels really hard. So today was one of those days. It felt like I couldn't quite get my rhythm right, couldn't execute pitches like I'd like to. And so ball found gaps, and then I just I didn't get the job done, didn't execute.
What do you think of the way the bullpen overall has dealt with the challenges you guys had with a shortage on rotation?
Yeah, I'm really proud of this bullpen. I think it's a fantastic group of guys. And really, honestly, outside of me, I feel like everyone did their job today. They were ahead of hitters. They were putting guys away. Then I just let too many people on base. So, yeah, it's a great group. I'm proud of these guys. They're doing their job day in and day out, and we're prepared to go to battle for the rest of the season.
That was Jason Adams inside the clubhouse after today's game. And look, Jason has been so good. You heard him say it there. Hey, there are some days where you're not going to have your best stuff, and it's not going to go how it usually does. And today was one of those days for Adam, because you look at it, Padres, he comes in a tie game in the top of the 7th inning. A runner on third base, and then immediately uncorks a wild pitch that gave the Marlins a 7-6 lead. And then Sheets hits the home run. And then Adam comes back out, hits Norby. So you can see where there would be frustration today for Adam, because, throws the wild pitch, then the Padres take a lead, then he hits Norby. You heard about the ground ball there. Now, I don't think the Padres, in all likelihood, get 2 on that ground ball. But if Manny fields it cleanly, makes the transfer cleanly, he probably gets at least 1 out. So you kind of wonder what the inning becomes if it's just a runner on base and 1 out rather than runners on first and second and nobody out. But hey, it's a team game. Pitchers got to make pitches. Fielders got to make plays behind them. And a little bit of a mix of everything as to why that top of the 8th inning went the way it did. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll tell you about today's catch of the game. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll go back downstairs, hear from Gavin Sheets as the Padres fall 10-8 to the Marlins on this Wednesday. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network from Petco Park. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building. Marlins win it 10-8 against the Padres on this Wednesday as the Padres win the first 2 games of this series in a very good position at one point today to pick up a 3-game sweep of Miami. But to the Marlins' credit, they find ways to battle back in this one and they win it 10-8. We'll hear from Gavin Shildt, who had another big moment in this game, and we'll talk about what he continues to do in just a little bit. But first, let's tell you about today's catch of the game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
Our catch of the game, will tell you about it today, and I thought long and hard about what direction to go with this, but I'll tell you, I think our catch of the game has to be the throw by Sanchez to get Fernando Tatis Jr. at home plate in the bottom half of the 4th inning that ended that 4th inning. It became a 5-run inning for the Padres. Manny Machado, an RBI single as Diaz scored from third base. But then Jesus Sanchez in right field made a great throw to home plate to get Fernando Tatis Jr. at the plate. Kept it a 5-run inning, kept it a 6-1 game. And guess what? Every run was critical in this game. And the Marlins scored 5 immediately, tied it at 6. Who knows what happens if Tatis scores, Padres get another run. Maybe the inning gets even bigger after that. The fact that Sanchez made that throw home to get Tatis, at the time, it didn't seem like a huge deal because you felt like the Padres were in a great position to go on and win it. But you look back in retrospect, that was a big play. So our catch of the game, our defensive play of the game, the throw by Jesus Sanchez from right field to get Fernando Tatis Jr. at home plate. The other aspect of that play, which was interesting, was Tim Leeper, the third base coach, clearly gave Fernando the stop sign, and he ran right through it and got thrown out at home plate. Again, at the time, didn't seem like a huge deal because the Padres were up by 5, and you're thinking, okay, here comes the 3-game sweep. Just got to find ways to get through the rest of this game pitching-wise, add on some runs. But again, to the Marlins' credit, Sanchez makes that play, and then after that, the Marlins scored 5 in the top of the 5th inning immediately to tie it at 6. Well, Gavin Shildt did his part today. A 2-run home run in the bottom half of the 7th inning, his 11th home run of the season, gave the Padres at the time an 8-7 lead. Gavin continues to be just stellar. 3 RBIs on the day, had an RBI base hit early in this game to give the Padres a 1-0 lead. So he did a little bit of everything. 2 hits, 3 RBIs, the 2-run homer for Gavin Shildt, his 11th home run of the season. How about this? He has 11 home runs already before the end of May. That's already more than Gavin Shildt had in both 2024 and 2023 when he hit 10 home runs apiece in each of those seasons. So the marvelous story of Gavin Shildt continued here today. Let's go downstairs inside the clubhouse and hear from Gavin Shildt.
You won the sweep. You're close to it. How do you kind of view like letting this one get away while also knowing that you did win the series?
Yeah, it's obviously it's one that we wanted. We played hard today. Obviously winning the series is very important, obviously, but that was, today was in our focus and kind of let that one get away from us. But part of it, got a series win and got another one coming up.
11 homers. It's not even the end of May yet. That's more than you had the last 2 seasons. Are you kind of like, is this, how much fun are you having, I guess, in these moments?
Yeah. I've said it all along. It's just when you try to win games every single day and you try to help the team win at any point, it's just a better brand of baseball. It's easier to play. You're not worried about your individual stats. And, I think that's kind of the product of it. Obviously made adjustments that have really helped and have really clicked. But I think when you just go out there every single day, helping the team try to win, it's just an easier way to play the game.
Shildt has said a couple times that you have power, but you're a hitter. You're not just a power hitter. The early RBIs seem to kind of indicate that type of hit. Is that something that you kind of take pride in? Just, I'm not a power guy. I'm a guy that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in that situation, we're just trying to get Jackson from third, So trying to be short to it. And I feel like power comes when you make right swing decisions and you're short to the baseball and square it up. The more times you grab the baseball, the more your power numbers are going to go up. So I think they go hand in hand. So I don't try to, I think as soon as I start trying to hit for power, that's when, both of those go downhill. So be a good hitter first.
Your leverage numbers typically have been really good. They're really good again this year. What's kind of the mental approach in situations like that? Is it leaning into it, or is it just kind of normalizing the situation?
Yeah, I think you start to get confidence. When you come through in a couple of situations, you obviously get that confidence. I think the biggest thing is just wanting that moment. You don't get afraid of it. You just want it. You expect it. And that's what's helped me, just enjoying, embracing it, and wanting those situations.
How do you feel the way you guys have performed offensively overall since the rough stretch you had earlier?
Yeah, I think that's part of 162 games. You're going to have those stretches. You're going to have those stretches where you get rolling, and hitting's contagious. So when we get going 1 through 9, we're an extremely dangerous team, and I thought we swung the bats really well. We had extremely timely hitting, and kind of got out of that skid and swing the bats well.
Have you ever been in a groove like this, like you're in right now, like just kind of on fire, just squaring everything up and just kind of smashing all over the field?
Not really. I think rookie year, I did a little bit, but that was the same thing. Rookie year was, we were the first in division, and it was about winning baseball. It was about trying to win every single night and get to the playoffs. And that was obviously my focus this offseason, was getting to a team that had those same visions, same goals, and I think that's a huge part of it.
How's your comfort level in left increasing
day by day? Yeah, the more I play out there, the more comfortable I get. Obviously, you get as many reps as possible in practice, but until you get in the game, you can't replicate it. So, getting more and more comfortable out there, the more I'm out there. Obviously, it's getting it's a new spot for me, so getting as many reps as possible and making it comfortable. Felt good. Felt good. Yeah. Ball kind of checked up on me. It was funny with the way he top spun it, but to get it in and get that guy out in that moment, that felt good.
So you just baited him to do it.
Exactly. Just trying to test him to go.
How do you characterize just this series as a whole? You have a walk-off, big comeback yesterday, and then just kind of a slugfest today.
Yeah, I think that we did offensively. We kept ourselves in it. I think our pitching kept us in it too. Kolek yesterday, unbelievable day. Gives up 6 in the first and then goes back out there and goes 6 innings for us and keeps us in it offensively. So I thought we had extremely timely hitting. We did small things. We hit for power. We did small things. We ran the bases well. We played good defense. So, keep building off that and back-to-back series wins, most important thing. And now we got Pittsburgh coming up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Gavin Sheets. Really good stuff. Good insight there from Gavin. Again, did his part today. Had the early RBI single, 2-run home runs, put the Padres ahead at the time, 8-7 in the bottom half of the 7th inning. But unfortunately, not enough here today as Miami wins it 10-8. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals today around the majors. Some games still going on right now. Some games yet to begin. The finals, Pirates beat the Diamondbacks 10-1 in Arizona. Astros beat the A's 5-3 in Houston. Rays beat the Twins 5-0 in Tampa Bay. Brewers beat the Red Sox 6-5 in Milwaukee. The final in 10 there. Win for the Brew Crew against the Red Sox. Tigers beat the Giants 4-3 in Detroit. The Guardians beat the Dodgers 7-4 in Cleveland earlier today. White Sox beat the Mets 9-4 in New York. Games going on right now. Orioles 3, Cardinals 0 in Baltimore in the third. Reds and the Royals are scoreless in the first inning in Kansas City. Games yet to begin. Rockies and the Cubs at 5:05 Pacific in Chicago. Blue Jays and the Rangers at 5:05 in Arlington. Yankees and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:38. And at 6:40, Nationals and the Mariners in Seattle. And we did have one postponement today. The Braves and the Phillies were postponed due to rain. They will make that up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. Final score, Marlins 10 and the Padres 8. Let's hear today's play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
8-7 Padres lead. The first pitch to Ramirez. Swung on, line drive, base hit in center field. One run is going to score. Here comes the throw. The second run is going to score. And all of a sudden, the Marlins have taken the lead 9-8.
Our play of the game, the 2-run single in the 8th inning for Agustin Ramirez, who had a big game and a really, really big series. That was certainly our play of the game. Made it go from an 8-7 Padre lead to a 9-8 Marlin lead in the top of the 8th inning for Ramirez. His 4th hit of the day, RBIs 3 and 4. He had a 4-hit day and was terrific in this game out of the leadoff spot, really in this series for Miami. Our play of the game, the 2-run base hit by Agustin Ramirez for the Marlins. And big swing. We talked about the top third of the lineup for Miami today. Terrific. Ramirez, 4 hits, a home run, 4 RBIs. Eric Wagaman had 3 hits, including an RBI. Otto Lopez had 3 hits. Game-tying home run in the top of the 5th. So all in all, you look at it, 10 hits and 8 RBIs for the top 3 spots in the Marlins lineup today. My goodness, what a nice day for those young players at the top of the Miami lineup. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Looking ahead to Friday series opener against the Pirates at Petco Park. Padres will enjoy an off day here in San Diego tomorrow. First pitch on Friday at 6:40 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:40. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres on Friday. Right-hander Mitch Keller on the mound for the Buccos. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Marlins in this series finale. 10 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. They left on 4. For the Padres, 8 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. They left on 4 as well. Winning pitcher in this game, Ronnie Enriquez, who improves to 3-1. Losing pitcher, Jason Adam, who drops to 5-1. And the save goes to Calvin Fauché, his 3rd of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 36 minutes. And the crowd at Petco Park on this Wednesday, 33,885. Once again, first pitch on Friday at 6:40. Pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, and our post-game audio correspondent, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score today, the Miami Marlins 10 and the San Diego Padres 8. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. We'll talk to you on Friday on the Padres Radio Network.